Michaela and Good Education Group for having me along. What I'm about to talk about, I think it's quite a divergence from what you've been doing today, because you're here for, as a careers seminar, and I'm really sort of talking about the idea of global citizenship. But I think you're old enough and been around long enough and worked with kids long enough to be able to sort of place what we're about to talk about in the context of what you do with students, however that works for you. But far more importantly, what we're about to talk about has everything to do with you personally as this concept of being a global citizen. Right? And then finally somebody at lunch said to me, oh, but you're the perfect example of how, what you guys do with these kids is knowing how life has changed so much that their careers will chop and change. So for myself, as being in education for 30 years and being head of campus, like a deputy principal at a school called Press Hill in Kew in Melbourne, now stepping out and running my own educational workshops, travelling to countries such as India and Pakistan, etc., life has really changed for me in the most enormous way. So I guess that first question is, well, what on earth, what do we mean by global citizenship anyway? And I just want to toss that around in your head, that do you have to travel across the world to be a global citizen? Is that what the concept is? You hear this phrase bandied around, and I'd like to think in your head you're going, no, you don't. You can be a global citizen from right where you are sitting right now. It has layers and layers and layers of concepts to it. So the idea, you would have heard these phrases, think global, act local. You've heard that before, right? We take that probably a bit further because so many of us and the kids that we work with, they are travelling. They're constantly, so many of them will have jobs that take them to other countries around the world, or people coming here and they needing to know, how do I relate to these people from a completely different culture? How do I show respect? How do I become part of the idea that we can change the world, we can make the world a better place when we start treating each other differently and we start treating our planet differently. So what is my role as an adult in all of that? What is the role for these kids? So I'm going to sort of begin, if you like, with a few sort of pretty profound quotes. The first one's actually not up there. It's from Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela told us we all need to rise above our own expectations of ourselves. It's a really profound thought. We all need to rise above our own expectations of ourselves, not of our parents, not of our teachers, not of our peers and our colleagues, of ourselves. He's telling us we can all do more than we ever thought we were capable of doing. And for the last 2,000 years, people have been grappling with this, that educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. This is Aristotle. So as careers advisors, it's one thing to say, oh yes, you should become a lawyer, or you can get the marks to become a doctor, or you should be an accountant and engineer, or a cleaner, or working in, like we saw in the restaurant. You can get great academic results, but without heart and without values, what is it going to do for our world? And Martin Luther King, in the 1960s, intelligence plus character, that's the goal of true education. So 2,000 years we've been talking about this. So isn't it wonderful that now in the year 2018 we've sorted it all out? Isn't it great that the world is the most peaceful place and there is no violence, no conflict, no etc., etc., etc. No workplace bullying, no domestic violence. Isn't it great that we've sorted it out? And so already you can hear the sarcasm in my voice. These are the things that we need to be teaching our kids along with academic studies and we need to get better and better and better at it. And so it became my life, if you like. Only about 4 or 5 years ago, I went to an Indigenous Studies conference. So I'm still head of campus. And you would know what that means. That means you're running every day. You're on the run, you're on the go, you don't stop. I went to this Indigenous Studies conference. By the third day of that conference, everybody there had kind of moved, shifted to a whole nother level of being. That's how it felt. And I walked out of there and I went home and I said, well, I'm going to resign. And I did. True to my word, 6 months later I resigned and I began working in the area of social justice, looking at inequalities, trying to get to the root cause of hate and fear and violence, and really sort of grappling with, well, how do we unravel these things? How do we build bridges of trust across our world? And really that's what we want to see for all our kids, right? For all our futures, not just our kids. And I created something called the Gandhi Experiment. The Gandhi Experiment, I don't know how many of you know a lot about Gandhi. It's not about the man himself, it's about the essence of the message. So the idea that Gandhi stood on a platform of non-violence, right? Always non-violence. He did something phenomenally radical. When an invading country came to his country, well, they'd been there for a couple of 100 years, so India, and was subjugating Indians as second-rate citizens, he said, we're going to get rid of them, but we will not lift a gun, we will not raise a fist, we will not stab anyone in the back, we will do this on a platform of non-violence. And the second message from Gandhi is something called satyagraha. It's my truth force, my deepest soul force, my beliefs. But here's the issue, because if my beliefs are different to yours, and yours are different to yours, and yours are different to yours, and so on, he would say, come back to a place of non-violence to sort this out. I'll give you a very quick example. So if somebody says, it's my deepest truth force to wear a headscarf to show my religion, and somebody else says, well, no, that's not allowed, you cannot do that. Have there been instances of violence over that issue? Have there? Yes, certainly they have. In this country? Yes, certainly they have. And he would say you come back to a place of non-violence to sort this out, any issue. The third one that's directly relevant to all our kids and all of us, he would sit and he'd pray every day, every morning, every night. In fact, I got to sit and meditate on literally the same ground that he prayed morning and night. And all these thoughts came flooding to me. But the third platform, if you like, all these ideas would come flowing in and he'd get up and take action. So none of this sitting around, whinging and whining and moaning and groaning, especially about the government. The government does this, the government does that. He would get up and he would say, well, we need to do something about this problem. All three of those are overarched with this idea of change begins with me. Right? And this is huge, it's absolutely huge. And you need to think right now, how does that apply to me? Because I run parent seminars sometimes, and when I walk in and say to parents, change begins with me, and the seminar's all about their teenagers, and they go, yes, absolutely, our teenagers need to change, no doubt about it. And I go, oh, no, let's just backtrack. Change begins with me means you. And they sit there, what are you talking about? But eventually, 2 hours later, they're absolutely understanding what that means as a parent. The same applies to teachers, it applies to every single adult. Change. You know that saying, be the change you want to see in the world? Yeah, that's attributed to him. He didn't actually say that. What he said was, if I can change myself within, the world around me will change. Now, as careers advisors, I would say these are some of the skills that our kids really need to learn alongside all our academics. 5 minutes, I want to race. So, I just was going to take you through some really quick exercises of some of the things we do, which is, it's like the tip of the iceberg for what we do with these kids, right? And this is very quick. It's called Where Am I Now? It's about breaking stereotypes. So real quick, where am I now? What country is this? Just a guess. This one's an easy one. India. This is India. I work with Indian educators in values education. Where am I now?
Pakistan.
Oh, very good. This is Pakistan. The kids will say Saudi Arabia. They'll name all sorts of places. And this one here, this is also Pakistan. But this is, I want you to look at these women. This is a school that is 50% Christian and 50% Muslim, all in the same school, happily coexisting in Pakistan. Where am I now?
Australia.
In Australia, someone said?
Yeah.
That's a good guess. It's a country Australians love to go to for holidays. It's Fiji.
Oh, Fiji.
But this is a very remote village in Fiji. You will not find tourists here. There is no electricity here unless they run the generator, which costs a lot of money. So this is Fiji. That's my lovely book, which is sitting just over there. Where am I now? Where did you say before?
Australia.
This is Australia. This one is
Saudi Arabia.
where?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. It's Australia,
Uh-huh.
right? And she is from Syria, one of the most war-torn countries in our world at the moment. This beautiful, amazing woman. And where am I now? Australia's closest neighbour, that it really is a Muslim country. Indonesia. And this one, where am I now? And check out these girls with the hair and the uniforms, and this very groovy teacher with the sunglasses. So a lot of kids will tell me, this is Spain, this is Greece, this is, some European country. Somebody told me it was Scotland, but it is Pakistan. This is Pakistan. And this, out of all the pictures, is the one that begins to break the stereotypes that are given to us about other countries. And the stereotypes are coming from where in particular?
The news.
From the media. Yeah, really interesting. I showed this to in Indian schools. Where am I now? And every kid in the room went, you're in India. And I went, oh no, I'm in Pakistan. And their jaws hit the ground because they're taught that Pakistani kids are like little devils, they're monsters. And they couldn't believe this. So in January I flew, this is the Himalayas, flew alongside the Himalayas and wound up in this area. Can anyone guess this one? You get out here and very big soldiers with very big guns are all across this area. This is Kashmir. But this is Kashmir. So this is me and a family in Kashmir. But what I ask the kids to do here is to do this. See this? Can you see her? Compared to them, compared to him. And what I ask them to do is frame it. Just frame. You can do it now if you can do this. And you literally, you get, pick up you can do this. Adults can do this as well as kids. And you just frame so you can only see myself and this woman here, right? And the question is, if just this was on the front page of a newspaper in Australia, what do you think the headline would be?
You're dealing with terrorists.
Sorry?
You're dealing with terrorists.
Dealing with terrorists. And the kids will tell you, Australian kidnapped by terrorists. And yet this woman is highly professional. She's a lot of fun, very friendly, and she works with children suffering trauma through conflict. Right? She chooses to wear this. Her mother doesn't wear it. Her friends don't wear it. It's by choice. So one of the biggest things in breaking breaking stereotypes and building bridges of trust is to get kids to start that real critical thinking. When they read things in newspapers, when they see these, open up your eyes. Now I know I'm going to race through here. We do all sorts of things in these workshops, and they're pretty incredible. We do ask, we get to the root cause. What is the root cause of war? It's phenomenal what they come up with. They dig down and down and down and down in a methodology taught in the book. And Gandhi will tell you the enemy of everything is fear. So I'm going to rapidly ask you, why would you never use fear to control a classroom? We don't have time to tease this out, but it's a fantastic exercise. Why would you? Sorry?
They should be able to trust you, your students.
Absolutely. When you break that trust, won't you? Why should you never use fear to control a workplace? Why should you never use fear to control your family? And as I said, we don't have time to delve into this, but in your head right now, I know you're answering. It's, if you keep going, it's phenomenal what you unpack. Why would you never use fear to control a country? But here's the big question. If you use fear to control a country, where did that person or those group of people, where did they ever learn to do that? You know where they learned it? Why would you never choose fear to run your home or your classroom? So the impact we have as parents and teachers for the future of this world is extraordinary. It's astounding. And we need to step up and really own that as teachers and adults who model particular behaviours. Yeah? I know I'm winding up. Am I winding up? Are you going to give me 2 more minutes?
You can have 2 more minutes.
Hey, because I've got this question. Sorry? What was that?
Everyone's got happy faces.
I've got a question for you. We are custodians of the planet. We don't own the planet. Here's a question. It's a great prize. It's this delicious fudge, which is very, very bad for you, but it's really yummy. So the question is this. Oh, you need to say who said this, right? I'm going to give you a quote, and you get the prize if you can name who said it. So, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, then there will be peace. Who said that?
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa, what a great guess. No, it's not Mother Teresa.
You're really Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. Wow, that's interesting. Shakespeare. No, it's not Shakespeare. Who else could it be? Gandhi. And of course, you'd think, yeah, hey, she runs the Gandhi Experiment. No, it's not Gandhi.
Nelson Mandela.
Oh, I like the guessing. It's somebody, actually, it's a bit of a trick question. Somebody who played the guitar during the Vietnam years, American war protest music, such a great, sorry, someone's saying it. He could play the guitar behind his back. No? I didn't recover Jimi Hendrix, he said. But now, you have to give back to
Yep.
In actual fact, she wins the prize. What? Exactly what? So what just happened then? Did you say Jimi Hendrix?
Yep.
Did you say Jimi Hendrix? You said Martin Luther King. The answer's Jimi Hendrix. How come she wins? How are you feeling right now?
I didn't want it.
You didn't want it. What if it was $1 million? And I took it off you. Because guess what? In this world, every day, $1 million is being taken off the people who actually deserve it. Right? So then you might be a bit upset.
But if I never had it in the first place.
Sorry?
I never had it in the first
You never
place.
had it. So that's a good attitude. Let's just look at what's going on. Right? If I am in Australia and I put on my new Nike runners and I feel like a winner, right? I feel like an absolute winner. The people on the other side of the world who made the Nike runners have to win too. Yeah. Not Nike, the company, right? The people who made the runners. So it was Einstein who said to us, the thinking that's got us into the problem is not the thinking that will get us out of the problem. Right now we have a dominant paradigm of, in the corporate world, when I win, you lose. We have to change the way we think to when I win, you win too. So on that note, you do win too. And on that note, I will leave you with it. I do come into schools. I've been more than welcome to come to your school and present, global citizenship forums, leadership forums with staff and students actually. So, I'd love you to snap that photo and take it back to school and say, you better get her in. I will leave it there. Thank you very, very much indeed.